Each year, millions of lives are lost to wars, but have you ever wondered about the psychological cost of these wars? War, as we know, is a cataclysmic event that shakes the very foundations of societies, leaving a trail of physical destruction in its wake. But behind the rubble, the crumbled buildings, and the scarred landscapes lies an unseen cost, a toll that is rarely acknowledged and yet continuously paid by those who survive. This is the psychological toll of war, a burden carried by countless individuals, often in silence. The numbers are staggering. The World Health Organization estimates that over a third of people who have experienced war or other severe conflicts suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. That's millions of individuals worldwide haunted by the memories of the horrors they've witnessed, struggling every day to reclaim their lives from the shadows of the past. But PTSD is only one facet of this unseen cost. War, with its relentless uncertainty and violence, can trigger a multitude of psychological issues, including depression, anxiety, and a host of other mental health disorders. These conditions can linger long after the physical wounds have healed, affecting not only the individuals who've experienced them, but also their families, their communities, and even entire generations. In this video, we will delve deeper into these psychological effects of war. We will explore the intricacies of PTSD, the impact of war on children and their development, and the long-lasting effects on communities. We will take a closer look at the Vietnam War, a conflict that has become a case study in understanding the psychological impact of war. We will also look at the ripple effect of these psychological wounds, how they seep into the fabric of societies, altering the course of lives and shaping their future in ways we often fail to recognize. While the physical damages of war are often counted, the psychological effects are frequently overlooked. Yet it is in understanding these unseen costs that we can begin to fully comprehend the true toll of war and perhaps find ways to address its devastating consequences. War leaves an indelible mark on the minds of those who experience it. This is a truth that echoes through the annals of history and is a testament to the profound psychological impact of war. The battlefield may end, but for many, the war continues within their minds, shaping their lives in ways we can scarcely imagine. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is one of the most common psychological conditions affecting war veterans. It's a debilitating anxiety disorder triggered by traumatic events, resulting in flashbacks, nightmares, and severe emotional distress. Imagine being haunted by your past every single day with no respite. That's the reality for countless veterans who carry the burdens of their war experiences with them. Depression is another significant issue. The feelings of despair, hopelessness, and a loss of interest in life can be overwhelming. War alters the lens through which we view the world, casting a long shadow over the joy and beauty of existence. Anxiety disorders are also prevalent, manifesting as chronic unease, panic attacks, or phobias. The constant state of high alert during war times can hardwire the brain for fear long after the threat is gone. Then there are personality changes. The pressures of war can chip away at a person's character, transforming them in ways that are often hard to reconcile with their former selves. This can strain relationships and make reintegration into civilian life a monumental challenge. We have psychologists and war veterans to thank for our understanding of these issues. Their insights shed light on the unseen wounds of war and remind us of the human cost behind every conflict. The stories of veterans, their struggles, their resilience are a testament to the human spirit and its capacity to endure. The scars of war are not just physical but also psychological, and they run deep. They shape lives, change destinies, and leave a lasting legacy on the fabric of our societies. Understanding this is a step towards empathy, towards supporting those who bear these invisible burdens, and towards a future where the cost of war is truly acknowledged. The Vietnam War, a conflict that ended almost half a century ago, continues to affect veterans and their families till this day. This war, fought in the jungles and villages of Vietnam, left an indelible mark on those who served, the impact of which lingered long after the last shots were fired. Vietnam War veterans often grapple with a range of psychological issues. Many were diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, a mental health condition triggered by experiencing or witnessing a terrifying event. They relive the horrors of war in their dreams, battle with anxiety, and often feel a sense of detachment from their own lives. Let's take the story of John, a veteran who served in the Vietnam War at the tender age of 20. John returned home physically unscathed but mentally scarred. He struggled to reconnect with his family, his friends, his former life. The sounds of fireworks on the 4th of July would send him into a panic, his mind confusing the celebratory noises with the echoes of gunfire. And then there's the story of Mary, a nurse who served in Vietnam. She came back to a world that felt foreign, haunted by the faces of the young soldiers she couldn't save. She battled depression, survivor's guilt, and turned to alcohol to numb the pain. These are not isolated incidents. According to Dr. James Wright, a renowned psychologist and expert on war trauma, the Vietnam War, more than any other war, was characterized by a high prevalence of psychological casualties. The nature of the war, the lack of clear objectives, and the hostile reception many veterans faced upon return all contributed to a mental health crisis amongst veterans. These personal stories and expert opinions illustrate the long-term effects of this war on mental health. They highlight the need for comprehensive mental health services for veterans and the importance of societal understanding and support. The Vietnam War serves as a stark reminder of the lasting psychological damage that war can inflict. The psychological effects of war extend far beyond the battlefield. A profound truth indeed. It's like dropping a pebble into a calm pond. The initial impact may seem small, but the ripples spread out, touching everything in their path. Consider the soldier, the individual pebble, if you will. The experiences they endure during wartime can lead to devastating mental health issues, such as post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and anxiety. These struggles do not stay confined to the individual, though. They ripple out, affecting those closest to them, their families. Imagine the spouse or the child trying to understand the sudden mood swings, the bursts of anger, or the withdrawn behavior of their loved one. They too can develop psychological issues as a result of this secondary trauma. The family unit, which should be a source of comfort and support, can become a battlefield itself. But the ripple effect doesn't stop there. It extends into the community. Schools may see behavioral issues in children of veterans. Workplaces might struggle with the erratic performance of an employee dealing with war-related trauma. Even the healthcare system can be overwhelmed by the mental health needs of returning soldiers and their families. As we broaden our gaze, we can see the societal implications of these mental health issues. Renowned psychologists have argued that societies which have endured war can exhibit collective trauma. This can manifest in increased rates of violence, addiction, and even suicide. In a sense, war doesn't end when the fighting stops. Its psychological impact continues to ripple through families, communities, and societies, leaving a trail of trauma in its wake. The unspoken truth is that the cost of war is not just measured in lives lost on the battlefield, but also in the lives disrupted and the potential unfulfilled in the aftermath. The ripple effects of war-related psychological trauma can be felt for generations. We must remember this as we continue our exploration into the unseen cost of war. Understanding the psychological effects of war is the first step towards making a difference. It's a journey of empathy and compassion, where we acknowledge the unseen yet profound cost of war. As we delve deeper into the subject, we find ourselves in a position to make a change, to contribute to a world that heals rather than hurts. So, where do we start? Education is our most powerful tool. By learning about the psychological impact of war, we equip ourselves with the knowledge needed to recognize and understand the struggles of those living with war-related mental health issues. Read books, participate in relevant discussions, attend seminars or webinars, or even engage with online communities focused on these topics. Next, let's talk about the importance of supporting organizations that are already making a difference. There are countless charities dedicated to helping veterans and war-affected civilians. They provide mental health services, rehabilitation programs, and support for those who bear the unseen scars of war. Consider donating, volunteering, or simply spreading the word about their invaluable work. Advocacy is another powerful avenue of action. Many veterans and war-affected individuals lack access to the mental health services they need. By advocating for policy changes and increased funding for mental health services, we can help bridge this gap. Write to your representatives, participate in peaceful protests, or use your platforms to raise awareness about this critical issue. Promoting peace and conflict resolution is perhaps the most profound action we can take. Encourage dialogue, foster understanding, and challenge the narratives that perpetuate conflict. Remember, peace isn't just the absence of war. It's a culture of empathy, understanding, and respect for all humanity. Every action, no matter how small, can make a difference in the lives of those affected by the unseen cost of war. So let's take that first step. Let's learn, support, advocate, and promote peace. Because in a world torn by conflict, our actions can be the salve that heals.